in which chemical may be used or some kind of a machines also will be used. And by that what we do is we smooth the surfaces. And maybe you know that in our houses we use some kind of a tiles, and further tiles what they do is they will polish, and when they polish it will become very smooth. And when very smoothness is there, generally what happens when smoothness increases?
Slipping.
Very good, slipping will be there. When smoothness increases, tell me whether frictional force will decrease or increase?
Decrease.
Decrease. So here whether increase or decrease here friction?
Decrease.
Decrease. Very good. So decrease means reducing the friction or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So to decrease the friction, what we have to do? First, we can do polishing. And if you polish any surface, that means if you make any surface smooth, then definitely what happens? We can reduce the friction. And second one, what is the second method of reducing the friction? We have to use lubricants. Lubricants means what?
So may I?
Lubricants means what? Alex? Alex, can you answer?
Sir, something that can make a object slippery.
Lubricant means slippery. Okay. And the lubricants means whether they are liquids or solids. What type of materials they are? What type of materials they are?
So solids and liquids both.
It may be solid or it may be liquid or it may be gas also. Gas we can't use. Sometimes we can use, but lubricants means the materials which can make a surface slippery. So that will be called lubricant. And generally, whenever lubricants word comes and our mind goes towards the liquids only, like oils will be there.
So
and
oil, grease.
Oils, grease. Grease is some kind of a semi-solid material. Oils, grease, and sometimes I said smooth powder also will be there. So lubricants means it may be solid or liquid which can make surfaces slippery. So that kind of a lubricants must be used. And maybe you know that suppose if you are riding a bicycle, suppose you are not using your bicycle for so many days, then what happens, what you do is to use that bicycle. First, what we pour is we pour oil into that chain and all those things, whatever wheels are there. Why we do that? Why we pour oil into that?
So may I?
Tell me.
Sir, to reduce the friction so that the cycle will run smoothly.
Okay. Right. Like carom powder also. Very good. Somebody said carom powder. Powder, what it will do? It will reduce the friction, isn't it? And in play of carom, we use some boric acid powder, and that powder will reduce the friction, and thereby what happens is the coins will move very freely, very easily it can move. Isn't it? Have you observed it? Have you observed it?
Yes, sir.
Right. So boric acid. Okay. Now lubricants means the materials which can make surface slippery will be called lubricants, and we have to use oils, grease, boric acid powder, like that. All these will come under lubricants. So by using the lubricants, what we can do? We can reduce the friction. Next one, ball bearing. We have to use ball bearing in some machines, and some machines like ceiling fans, bicycles, vehicles. And have you seen ball bearing which will be there like this? So this one is called ball bearing. So in that ball bearing, a metal disc will be there. Two metal discs will be there. In between that, some what marbles like things will be there. Have you seen?
Yes, sir.
Others, have you seen, Alex? Have you
Sir,
seen this type of a ball bearing?
sir,
Tell me.
sir, I have a question.
Okay, tell me.
Sir, the metallic balls in between. So what is the use of that? Because there is outer covering on the ball bearing.
Outer covering will be there. Inner covering also will be there. Outer covering will be there. In between that, what will be there? Some balls will be there like this, metallic balls only. Have you
Yes, sir.
seen this diagram?
Yes,
So in
sir.
this diagram, metallic balls are there or not? So here,
Yes.
this type of a metallic balls will be there. And when metallic balls are there, like that, and in between that, lubricant will be there. Some grease also they will put in that. So what happens is when we are using ball bearings, the machine will run very easily. That means friction can be reduced when it is moving. As it is a metallic ball and some grease is used in that, some lubricant is used in it. So that's why this ball bearing generally will be used to reduce the friction. If you are not using ball bearing, then what happens is it moves very difficulty. It moves with very difficulty. That means friction will increase at that time and more power will be lost. But when we are using ball bearings, either we using ceiling fans or bicycles or vehicles, then what happens is friction will be reduced. And why friction is reduced here? Here metallic balls are there, surfaces are very smooth, and whatever these tiny balls are there inside of it, generally they will move very fast as touching surface area will be very less. So that's why this ball bearing will be used to reduce the friction in machines. Not only in ceiling fans, they will be used in machines also. So I here one more thing is also there in your slide. Using of rollers and wheels are there, no? So for wheels also sometimes we use these ball bearings. So ball bearing generally will reduce the friction. Okay. And where we use ball bearings? Where we use these ball bearings? Ronak?
Yes, sir. Sir,
Where we use?
yes, sir, sir, in bicycles, sometimes in door hinges.
Okay. So in engines also we will see these type of a ball bearing. So ball bearings will reduce the friction. And the next point is nothing but what? Using of rollers and wheels. By using wheels also, what we can do, we can reduce the friction. Rollers means like wheels only. So rollers and wheels will generally reduce the friction. Where we use these rollers and wheels generally, maybe you know that some kind of a carry bag will be there, like luggage bag will be there like this, which is having wheels. Why we use wheels here? To reduce the friction. And sometimes rollers also will be there. Maybe you will see rollers in where in aerodromes. Maybe while we go in a flight in aerodromes, what they will do is luggage will be thrown on some rollers. Rollers will be there, and on that rollers, what will be there? Very less friction will be there, so that they can move very easily. So rollers will be used, wheels will be used to reduce the friction. Is it clear? Rollers and wheels will be used to reduce the friction.
The rollers are also used in skates.
Right. Rollers also will be used in skating also. Right. That means those are type of a wheels only. right? So rollers and wheels generally will touch the surface with a very small area. That's why friction will be very less, isn't it? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So where we are using rollers, rollers are used in luggage bags to reduce the friction. And see here, we sprinkle powder on a caroms board to reduce the friction. And already I said it comes in the lubricants only. So one type of a solid material which will what it will do, it will make surface slippery. And maybe you know that after pouring some boric acid onto that particular caroms board, what happens is if you strike with any striker in a carom board, what happens is that kind will move very fastly, isn't it? So if you sprinkle that kind of a carom board powder, it will reduce the friction. So all these are methods to reduce the friction. So tell me again one by one, Kavya, Ronak Gandhi, Alex, like that continually. One by one say, what are the methods for reducing the friction? Kavya, tell me first.
You can polish it or you can apply lubricants. And
Okay.